Deny that. We had contact. Houston, the Hadley base here. Tell those geologists in the back room to get ready because we've really got something for them.
A man on the moon. In the early 60s, a national dream. A reality by the end of the decade. In a bold declaration on May 25, 1961, President John F. Kennedy challenged the country to embrace NASA's Apollo program. NASA scientists, engineers, and astronauts worked hard to develop the gear and equipment necessary for safe missions into space. Among that gear was the Apollo pressurized moon suit, a suit that would allow an astronaut to survive the harsh conditions of the lunar surface. The lava fields in Central Oregon, with their pitted, creased, and rugged terrain, became the perfect testing grounds for both astronauts and the moon suit. The national attention focused on the small, isolated town of Bend, Oregon, when NASA announced that they would conduct experiments on 3 different types of nearby Oregon terrain: the basalt lava flow on the Mackenzie Pass, the pumice flows surrounding Lava Butte in Bend, and the obsidian flow at Newberry Crater. Bend was the host for a team of 12 NASA geologists who set up the field experiments for astronaut Walt Cunningham. Central Oregonians proudly welcomed the astronaut on August 24, 1964. NASA said that Bend went out of its way for a successful mission and nicknamed the city Moon Country. Astronaut Walt Cunningham went into space on Apollo 7, the first manned Apollo mission. He occupied the pilot seat on October the 11th, 1968 for its 11-day flight, a critical mission in America's drive to be the first nation on the moon. Hall of Fame astronaut Walt Cunningham reflects on his journey through moon country.
Well, as I recall, the primary purpose of that field test was to determine the capabilities of space-suited subject to perform lunar-related tasks on what was terrain that we didn't know what we were going to anticipate. So we did it on several different terrain. We went to several different areas operating out of Bend. So we wanted to find the various examples of the terrain that might be encountered on the lunar surface. And also, it had a mild summer temperatures. It's a lot of hard work inside that suit. We didn't have the cooling water radiated underwear in it, so you had to stop every so often because as you heat it up, you couldn't see out of the suit. I mean, so we had to go someplace where the temperatures were reasonably mild in the summer, because that's when we were doing the test. Well, it turns out that the $25 billion that it cost for the Apollo program throughout its history was spent all over the country, and part of that money was spent in places like Bend, Oregon, and part of it was for things like we were doing. So this was a competition that was going on around the world, and it truly was a competition to land a man on the moon. The Russians did all theirs in secrecy, we did all ours in the open, and only in the last 5 to 10 years have we been able to find out some of the details of their program and when they abandoned it. But they abandoned it basically because we were just doing too well. Not only did we do the suit tests there in Bend, Oregon, but we were back there on geological field trips because we were all studying geology at the time. As a matter of fact, I was in the 3rd group of astronauts, and we were in Bend, Oregon when Deke Slayton, the chief astronaut, if you will, had a meeting where he announced the crew assignments that the first guys in our group that were going to be assigned to crews. So I remember Ben from that. I always remember Ben. I remember after we got back at night, I remember sitting in the bar and having a drink there. I also remember Ben for one other reason. There's a lot of that lava rock used in construction around Bend. You can go in there and look, and you can see it on the walls of cafes and other things. And I mentioned that to Governor Hatfield. He said that he'd see to it that I got some. And sure enough, I got 2 crates of this rock. shipped to me, and it arrived down in time to put on the wall in my family room. So it's I've got a close tie to Bend, Oregon.
Bend, once a small community, has become a sprawling city on the high desert plateau. And as the sun sets into the Cascade Range, one thing remains the same. A glowing reminder in the starlit sky, still reflecting the pride of the Bend